Yeah.
So, I know you've done a lot of research on ancient civilizations, and in our perception of the modern world nowadays, the feeling of the you call it the morphogenic field, I call it the unconscious or the collective unconscious, like Jung would call it, or both are basically the same. There's a feeling that we are the most advanced of civilizations that have walked on Earth. But from the research that you've shared with us through the videos and everything, it seems that we're not exactly the most advanced civilizations that have walked on Earth.
Right.
What can you tell us about maybe ancient civilizations having more advanced technologies, and maybe about the Mayan calendar? And we don't have a galactic calendar in astronomy, at least not one that I know.
Yes.
But the Mayas did have a galactic calendar.
That's right.
So
very precise one too.
Very precise one.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about these ancient civilizations that were more advanced than us, and the feeling that we have that we are the most advanced one nowadays? I mean,
right. There's a certain amount of arrogance, that has developed in about the last 150 years, because we've, all of a sudden in modern society, and more industrial development, part of our evolution, we've reached technical achievements very, very, very quickly. So a certain level.
Like land on the moon and stuff.
Oris, come, Oris. There we go. This is an interview. There is a certain amount of technical developments that have been, okay, Oris, I'm going to need you to go back to the cabin. So, in the last 150 years, we've developed a certain amount of arrogance relative to the ancient civilization taking...
Since the Industrial Revolution, maybe?
Since the Industrial Revolution, about, all the technological advancements we've achieved in the last 100 years, going to the moon, orbiting satellites and so on. And we've assumed that this has been the most advanced knowledge available on our planet during this human evolution. Yet, when we look back into antiquity, we find all sorts of anomalies. And if it was just one anomaly or two, it'd be one thing. But there is thousands and thousands of examples of anomalies where buildings were built with incredible precision, using incredible materials, like pyramids and so on, and where the precision, the amount of materials, the size of the blocks and so on, just doesn't equate to anything we could reproduce today with all of our advanced technologies. There's places where stones that weighs in excess of 1,000 tons were moved miles in like deserts and across mountains and so on. And we can't do that today with the largest cranes on Earth and so on. And there is calendars which are extremely precise, that describe not only cycles of our planet around the sun, but the cycle of our sun inside the galaxy, which is not anything that's available to any person on the surface trying to figure it out with sticks and shadows and stuff. And so there is a lot of evidence, and I've done a lot of research on that there was very advanced knowledge, and that they may have been a much more advanced civilization than ours on our planet prior to a great change that was reported by many, many ancient civilizations as the Great Flood all around the world.
So how many thousand years ago would have that been?
It seems that it kind of ranged between, the end of that civilization ranged between 10 and 12,000 years ago. And so it's way prior to a written history. And there's a separation there as a result of the meltdown of the Ice Age. And that might have been what the ancient people reported as the Great Flood.
So this is something that might happen to us because we have the polar caps melting and so much change with the weather. Are we on the verge of going through another of those cycles of destruction of the planet?
Well, you know, there's a few things there. One is that these very advanced people in this ancient civilization may have left us calendars to tell us about this cycle. And certainly the Mayan calendar and other set of timekeeping pieces around the world from the ancient world, you know, convey this sense that the earth goes through cycles of destruction and that a civilization must be aware of that. But as well, if you think about it cosmologically, planets are not necessarily stable things. You know, there's meteorites, there's comets, there's sun flares, there's change of orbits. All this is in constant dynamic motion, and you know, it's for sure that there is a limited amount of time that the surface of a planet or even an atmosphere is going to stay stable for a civilization to evolve. So whether it's cycle of destructions, which I believe it is, but as well whether the Mayan and the other calendars are correct or not, it is crucial for a civilization to eventually learn how to use gravity, learn how to tap into this infinite source of energy that makes up everything we see, and to transcend and to leave the nest. You know, at one point, the mother has to kick the children out of the nest, and to become a universal being, to live in the universe instead of stuck to the surface of a planet, which is a dangerous thing to do.
Now, as you probably know, there's a lot of shock, mystery, and anxiety around the 2012, and how people, some are thinking it's going to be the end of the world. So many marketing has been done about the 2012 in relation to the Mayan calendar that there's a lot of speculation, obviously. And I would like to see if you could explain how does it happen, this galactic alignment? Because obviously I've heard videos from the NASA say there's no planetary alignment happening on December 21st, 2012. And yeah, there's no planetary alignment that the sun aligns with the rest of the planets in one straight line, but there's a galactic alignment of our sun with the center of the galaxy. So what does that mean? What's going to happen when we, first of all, I know it's every 30 million years that we sort of cross the galactic equator. So what does that mean? What effects can that have on our planet and on our galaxy, not only in physical terms, but in consciousness terms?
Okay, well, there's a lot of things to unpack in there, okay? First of all, there is an alignment, but it is not a physical alignment, meaning that from the frame of reference to the galaxy, the Earth and the Sun, our solar system is not actually lining up with the galactic center, but actually it's from the frame of reference of a person on the planet, meaning from the Earth relative to the galactic center and the Sun, there is an alignment that's occurring. But we're actually past the galactic equator in the galaxy, and that's what I mean there. However, what was not so well understood is the galactic equator has a certain amount of thickness, okay, and certainly, you know, it's very wide compared to our solar system. But because of the physics I've written, I've shown that actually the galaxies are a double torus manifold, and a torus is like a donut, so imagine you put two donuts on top of each other, and the equator has a certain thickness, and you could think of it as magnetic sheets coming together like that. Would be the two donuts coming together like this. And the Earth and the solar system is in between the two sheets.
At this moment.
At this moment. And I think that was mapped out by these calendar is when we were going to poke into the upper sheet. We're going through that upper sheet. And so from the research I did and from the calculation I did, I thought, well, it would kind of match around 2012 when we would make that leap, that transition. And recently, satellites have just, that we sent 30 years ago, finally got out of the solar system, out of the heliosphere of our sun, and which is like the wind that the sun pushes all the rest of particles in our galaxy with, right? And these satellites are able to look around for the first time around our solar system, and they're actually seeing that higher density magnetic field that we're poking into, and they're seeing the effect that it has on the heliosphere of our sun. And so it seems to be accurate that we're going through a denser, more intense part of the galaxy at this moment. But I don't think it's accurate to think that this is one day. That is incorrect. Actually, when you look at the Mayan currencies and all this, the information there, it's clear that they describe it as a period.
Like a 20-year period?
Yes, that's right. And that, that the period started in around 1995, 96, 97, exactly. Actually, in 97, something strange happened. The Earth started to grow at its equator, while before the Earth was getting thinner at the equator and rounder. Now it's getting wider at the equator. And we can see that as it started to get wider, there's been more earthquake, there's been more...
typhoons and...
that's right.
How do you call those?
Yes, hurricanes. Yes, and as well more volcanic activity and so on. And so, and I think we're approaching a time where it's going to get more extreme as we go through that higher density, because it's compressing our solar system, it's changing the dynamics in our solar system, it's changing the sun, and it's changing the planets. And so, this period is going to overlap 2012, 2013, and so on. But I think we're going to definitely go through a change, a transition during these years. So probably all the way up to like 2015, 16.
Now, this is very interesting that this transition in the galaxy, in our solar system, is happening at the same time that we are in a consciousness transition. In what way do they relate?
Well, this is really a remarkable thing. You see, when I wrote these physics, I realized that all points must have the information of all other points in the universe, and the math actually worked to prove that every single atom is in communication with all other atoms in the universe. And this is
the universe, not just our solar system.
Right, in the whole universe, like 10 to the 80th particles in the whole universe are connected through wormhole structures in the structure of the vacuum that connects everything. And when we write the math for that, you get all the correct answer for the mass of the proton and the energy and so on. And so it's like a hologram. And so everything is organized, highly complex. And, this is why life can emerge. Actually, this is why life most likely emerges everywhere in the universe, is because it's highly organized. There's an agent that's creating more and more complexity everywhere, making beings everywhere. And so this is a great coordinated dance. And it may look random to us a little bit because of this. I'll give you an example. If you have a beautiful Persian carpet with amazing, details and so on, but your nose is in it, right?
can't see it.
You can't see it. It's going to look random. There's all sorts of colors, there might be fleas in there jumping around and all this. You can't see the pattern, but if you push back if you saw enough of it, then you would start to see the pattern and the organization. And this is why we think it's random, because the complexity of the organization is so high, we can't compute it. So when, and so there's this amazing dance, this amazing coordination, and it's remarkable, yes, that as our solar system is in transition, so is our level of consciousness.
Now,